But I did, interestingly enough, I had a guy come up to me yesterday in the gym that I'd never noticed before. Young guy, my guess, 28, something like that. And he came up to me. I had my headphones on. I took it off. He goes, "I just wanted to tell you that I see you here all the time, and you're my inspiration." I was like floored. I didn't know what to say. All I could say was thank you. But that I. It's hard to forget that because clearly, they're noticing. Hey, here's an older guy. He's working out really hard, and you can see the results.
John, how did you find carnivore?
Well, it's an interesting question. It was, I think, March 17th. Actually, no, it was March 16th, the day before, and I wrote it down on my phone. I took a note because I wanted it to be my carniversary. But I was just watching some videos, and I came across Joe Rogan interviewing Dr. Peterson, I just found it really interesting the way it really healed everything Dr. Peterson was struggling, and it was interesting because to me because he didn't want to do this diet. His daughter told him you should do this diet. I didn't even know he had a daughter. So he kind of goes into the story of everything that his daughter went through and how it really cured a lot of things in his daughter, and it just caught my attention. I watched that entire interview with Dr. Peterson, and I found it really interesting how it helped him. Immediately, I searched for Michaela Peterson. I never knew who that was, and then I hear her interview with Joe Rogan, and she goes into a lot of detail of how it really helped. And I found it really interesting because I was struggling with weight. I was overweight most of my life, and yet I tried every diet on the planet. So I kind of approached it from a weight loss perspective, but I also had a thyroid issue, and I'm like, maybe this can help my thyroid problem. And of course, having a thyroid issue, you immediately, oh well, it's my metabolism. That's why I can't lose weight. And you start to blame these issues that you have. But it was one of these things where I think it all came down to we did a trip to Disney in 2019. I turned 50 in 2019, and I saw a picture of myself from when we went to Disney, and I could not believe how big I was. So immediately, as soon as we got back from that trip, I joined the gym. My son was 17 at the time, and he and I joined together, and I showed him how to work out, but I was very out of shape, and I stuck with it for 3 years, and I got pretty muscular, but I couldn't drop the weight. I dropped 25 pounds. Hey, fantastic! But I had over 50 to lose, and I kept dieting, and I would lose weight, and then I would go back to eating the standard American diet. Not even overeating, just eating normal, and I would gain a lot of it back, and it was just so frustrating. So when I saw Joe Rogan and Michaela, I started doing research. I just couldn't get enough. Came across, the obvious Dr. Barry. I came across a lot of these different doctors that are online. Sean Baker. Um, I tried. I'm blanking right now on one of the ones that I really like, Dr. Chaffee as well. So I'm seeing all these videos, and I'm realizing, there's really nothing unhealthy about eating this way. All of this, mind you, was in one day. All of this research was like one day, hours of research. I couldn't get enough. So the next day, we were actually in our family ranch, and it was my wife, myself, and my daughter. And the next day, I decided I'm going carnivore. That instant, I didn't phase into it. I didn't say, okay, I'm going to cut back on carbs. I simply just said today. And I went carnivore that day on March 17th, 2022. And I haven't had a carb since then, not one. Well, the argument would be, hey, from time to time I have a light beer with some friends, but I have not eaten a carb since then, and I've not missed it. So it's been quite a ride. And let me tell you, in less than 8 months, I dropped 54 pounds. 54 pounds. Now I was a gym rat, so I actually lost strength for about a month, month and a half being carnivore. But when my body adapted, I I gained all my muscle back and I gained all of my strength back. And people say, "Oh, you can't bodybuild, when you're not eating any carbs." Well, I beg to differ. I'm 54, 55, excuse me, and now I've been training for 5 years, been carnivore a year and 8 months, and I've never been in better shape in my entire life. I literally have, if I flex, I start to show a six pack. I've never had that in my entire life. This is one of these things that is just unbelievable what it's done. And people can say, well, it's the exercise. I'll tell you, exercise is about 20%. 80% of it is diet. 80% is diet. And that's the biggest impact I've seen. Got rid of my high blood pressure, gone, just totally disappeared with the weight loss. I snored a lot, probably had sleep apnea, but never got diagnosed. Gone, disappeared. I no longer snore. Thyroid still is an issue, but I'm hopeful that if I keep going, that it'll get better. So I literally went from one, two, three pills to down to one, just a thyroid. That's the only thing I take. So I've improved my health immensely. I literally feel like I'm 22 years old. I'm stronger now, more fit. I was just telling my son, I'm wearing the same size jeans that I was wearing in high school. As When does that happen? And I'm never ever hungry. So if this is not healthy, I don't know what is. So yeah, let me pause there because I feel like
Yeah.
I've been going for a while.
Very, very nice. Awesome results. And so you're never hungry. How are you eating? Are you doing like one meal a day, two meals a day?
For a year and a half, I did 3 meals a day. I would get back from the gym. I go to the gym in the morning. 5:30. I'm already at the gym. I'm home by 7:30. By 7:45, 8 o'clock, I'm having breakfast. Then I have lunch at normal time and dinner. Did that for a very long time. Last 2 months, I've introduced intermittent fasting, meaning that I simply don't eat until 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Uh, I I do drink coffee, so technically that's not carnivore, but I'm not one of those people that says everything is bad. I don't see it causing a problem for me. So I'll drink coffee in the morning, and I'll eat like today. I ate at 1 p.m. one something. Not really hungry. I start to get hungry. Had a small meal today, not as big as I normally have it, but typically, I'm a creature of habit. My meals typically are about 6 ounces of ground beef and about 4 to 5 scrambled eggs, all served in a bowl, the eggs on top, and I eat it with a spoon like if it was cereal. It's like almost every day, 6 days a week at least. That's my breakfast. And now I just have dinner, and dinner's typically a big 18-ounce steak that I get from Costco. So I buy them ahead of time, have them ready to go. So and I may snack like I just got home a little while ago and I had a beef stick. It's 5 p.m. now, so I don't usually eat dinner until 7 p.m. So I had a little beef stick that I snacked on, and I'll probably be fine until dinner. So I'm technically 2 meals now a day, and I'm feeling great. And more than anything, I don't feel the need for 3 meals, and I would like to drop a few more pounds, although technically, because my goal was I'm 5'9". I'm average height. I'm not very tall, and I weighed 254 pounds before this. I've been working out 5 years, put on good 25 pounds of muscle minimum, uh, and uh, and I've gone down to 209 pounds. Now, technically, if you look that up, that's obese, but I'm not obese. So I I bought one of these, a body fat caliper. testing. So I literally started saying, okay, I'm not seeing the scale go down, yet I see the pant size go down. So, and that's because, okay, I'm training. So I'm building muscle and losing weight at the same time. They say that's not possible. I beg to differ because the scale doesn't seem to change yet. When I do a body fat caliper testing, and I have it on my phone, I started doing it in January this year, so roughly 10, 11 months ago, and I started at 17% body fat, and I did it just yesterday, and I'm down to 10% body fat. Now I'm testing myself, and I'm not a pro, so I'm saying, okay, let's give a couple of percentage error on that. So let's call it 12% body fat, and that is excellent for my age. I don't know if I can get much better. So I'm ignoring the scale a lot and paying more attention to the body fat caliper. Right now, I'm limited. I can only test 3 areas by myself, and the ideal is to test in 7 different areas in the body. But hey, it's am I doing directionally correct? Am I moving in the right direction? So I started really paying attention to that rather than the scale, because the scale says I'm morbidly obese, but you know, how can I be morbidly obese and starting to show a six pack? So let's figure that out.
I've also heard that you can't lose weight and put muscle on thing, but I think that's you might not be able to do that when you're on a regular diet, but like a standard American diet kind of thing, maybe. But it definitely seems on carnivore that you can completely change your body in all ways, lose weight, put muscle
Right.
on, everything. Yeah. Um,
Well, I've become quite the researcher, and one of the things that I learned is that in Arnold Schwarzenegger days, they basically ate a primarily carnivore diet. Not exclusively, they did eat carbs, but it was basically a keto diet, if you will. A lot of red meat, a lot of protein. They prioritized all the protein, and you saw how big they got. Now these days, they're doing a lot more carbs, and they're becoming giant monsters, but they also have the big gut. They're not as lean and thin, as aesthetic as they were in Schwarzenegger's day. So to me, I like that old time look better, and so I'm kind of following that. And they clearly were able to build muscle.
Firstly, congratulations on the results. I mean, that's awesome. And age-wise, being not that far behind you, it gives me a lot of hope too. So I'm nearing in on 50. So
Yeah, yeah. No, it's I ignore the age. I had a personal trainer ask me in the gym, hey, he asked my age, and I told him, and he's like, well, how long are you going to work out? I said, until my body tells me I can't. Right now I feel fantastic, and I'll do it. In fact, my son also works out. He's been working out 5 years as well. He's a pretty big guy, and he told me, hey, Dad, I was able to bench 315 pounds. 300, yeah, that's 3 plates each side of the bar. So I was able to do that before, and he's now able to do that. And I usually use, since I work out by myself right now, we go to different gyms. I use dumbbell press, so I haven't benched with a regular bar in a while. So he told me that on a Tuesday. On the very next day, I went to the gym. So, it was leg day, but I go, yeah, let me try that. And I went to 315 pounds, and I was able to bench it twice. So I sent him the video. I said, there you go. I said, you want the title, you got to earn it. So I'll tell you, even though I'm
nice,
in my 50s, I'm still pretty strong.
nice. Um, and so, have you had any influence on your son diet-wise? Has your son considered doing this?
Yeah, no, not my son, not my wife, not my daughter. They think I'm crazy. My doctor thinks I'm going to die of a heart attack. And it's interesting because I've become quite the expert in reading blood work because I didn't want to be bullied. And when I have my blood work results from before I went carnivore, and pretty much very unhealthy from a blood work perspective, from a cholesterol perspective. And then my results in the middle of the first time, about a year into carnivore, or eating no carbs. And what I found, I had my HDL cholesterol shot up, the good healthy cholesterol. I had like 112. That's fantastic. My triglycerides hit the floor. They went way down, which is fantastic. That's what you want. But yes, my LDL went up. I had like 172 or something. The doctor said, I want to put you on statins. And I go, are you crazy? Look at this HDL. Look at the triglycerides. And I go, all you have to do is an HDL to triglyceride ratio, and I go, if you do the math, this is what it looks like. I'm great. And so they're not used to seeing that. They see LDL high, total cholesterol. By the way, total cholesterol is meaningless because you have healthy cholesterol and you have, and it's not even unhealthy. All cholesterol is the same. It's the same cholesterol. It just comes in different sizes in the lipoproteins in which they travel in the blood. So, really, is it really unhealthy? There's two types of lipoproteins in LDL, and only one of them was metabolically unhealthy. Which one do I have? Blood test doesn't tell you, right? So if it doesn't tell you, why should I get on a statin to lower all cholesterol when cholesterol is used by every cell in the body? So I told them no. So I've been able to defend myself, and they're thinking, oh, the next blood test is going to be horrible. Well, I just got it a month ago, 100% normal across all cholesterol. And mind you, when I eat my steak, any leftover fat, I'm like drinking it. I'm like, this is delicious. So according to them, I'm going to die. Blood test now says perfectly normal everywhere.
The interesting thing is, you know, there's no room for nuance with the doctors, right? It's just, but this number. And it's like, you feel like saying to them, well, look at me, you know, this is the
Exactly.
healthiest I've ever looked in my life. This is the best I've felt in my life. And you just want to focus in on that one number. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
why don't we have a look at the whole picture?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly right. And they're required to say, hey, you have, according to our standard of care, we have to recommend you go on a statin. And I said, fine, I understand you're required to do that, but I'm just informing you, I'm not taking a statin. So I'm good, I'm healthy, so
And
they
then
can
they
put
write
that
it
in.
down in their notes, right? Oh,
Exactly right.
he declined, he declined, he declined.
He declined it. It's not We're not liable, and I'm
Mm.
okay with that. And you asked about my wife and kids. They no, no. My son is open to it, but he likes eating carbs. And again, he's 23 now, so he, it's not difficult for him to drop weight when he wants to. It's becomes older, more difficult when you're older. My wife, no, convinced that is not a healthy way of eating. But I like you. I try to tell her, look at the results. I'm not on a diet. I'm eating a different way now. That's it. And I'm not saying. I told her, listen, don't do like me. Eat the vegetables you want. Just cut out carbs. Cut out starches. Cut out any kind of grains, and you're gonna see all your numbers get better. Just do that. If I personally I don't like vegetables, so I never did. I just kind of forced myself to eat them, so I'm okay with not eating them. But if I'm just saying, you don't. I cut out all seed oils, so I recommend that. Cut seed oils, cut pastas and any kind of grains, and cut starches, and you're going to see a big drastic change in your health. And but no, she's convinced that it's not the way to go, and hopefully she'll maybe run across some doctor that she believes. She says, oh, you watch your YouTube doctors, like they're not real doctors. But no, it is what it is. We've been married 29 years, and we agree to disagree.
Do you just kind of prepare your dinner on your own and or your food on your own and everyone else just kind of does their thing?
Yeah, kind of like that. I An air fryer became my best friend. Right. So my wife does a great job. She prepares the meals for everyone, and she prepares my ground beef ahead of time. Like, I just yesterday, she did 3 pounds of ground beef and put it in a container for me, and that's what I pull from for eating breakfast the entire week. So she does that, and I quickly make, within 5 minutes, I can have some scrambled eggs. So in 5 minutes while I'm doing scrambled eggs, I'm heating up my 6 7 ounces of ground beef and having a good meal and quite content until till dinner. Dinner, I literally throw a steak in the well, nice and salted. I put salt like it's going out of style, and I in 15 minutes I already got it timed. These Costco steaks takes exactly 15 minutes to get them medium rare, and I pull them out. They're delicious that way. I definitely on a grill would be better. They're even better that way, but it's so easy to do. I just simply pad dry my steaks. I salt them, throw it in the air fryer 15 minutes, and then I'm having dinner. So it's become a lot less work for my wife because whatever she makes for herself, she makes for the kids, and we're golden. So yeah, I kind of do a lot of that on my own. And again, watching YouTubers, watching different people how they did it. I can't remember the guy's name, but he had an air fryer. Um, Ferrigno Freedom, I think is his
Freedom,
channel.
freedom, yeah.
Yeah, and he has an air fryer, so I'm like, hey, I'm gonna try that. So I got a air fryer and did the same thing. And by the way, I've seen a
Nice.
lot of great benefits. For example, coming up with things that I can't remember like Ferrigno. It just the mental clarity is quite impressive. There were times where I was thinking something's wrong with me. I can't remember anything, and now I seem to recall just about everything. Or if I can't, I think about it for a minute, and it comes right back.
Have you noticed any changes that relate to the way, um, you might work or anything like that?
Um, well, so I have an office job. In fact, a home office. This is my office, so it's not a physically demanding job, which is one of the reasons that I definitely want to work out. But it is a very stressful job. A lot of pressures on with VPs of my company all the time. So everything's a priority. So I seem to handle stress very well. I've in more than one occasion I've been told you seem to you seem like things roll right off you. You don't get stressed about all of the things you have going on. So that's been I think I credit that to that it allows me to focus and get things done when I need to. So that's one thing I would say about the carnivore diet that is given me. Now, stamina in working out is definitely one. I seem to recover a lot faster and build muscle a lot more than somebody who doesn't eat as much protein as I do. I did have an impact in my energy level for the first month to 2 months of working. When I went into the diet and I was working out, I noticed that I lost strength. I was bench pressing 315 pounds, and I went down to 275 pounds within a month. So I lost strength 100%. But as my body became accustomed to it, I just started gaining it right back. And I simply don't get tired. It's my stamina to work out for longer periods of time have is incredible. So I've definitely taken a notice of that. My not only my strength but my stamina. I don't do a lot of cardio. I probably should, but I do more strength training. But I've noticed that I can do more and recover quicker than what I used to. I'm able to keep up with the young guys at the gym, so that's good.
Nice. So on that point, do you have any of those you talked about your trainer, but do you have any of the young guys at the gym or any of your friends coming up to you and saying like, "John, what are you doing? And what drugs are you taking to, to do this?"
No, not really in those words, but they've like I've had comments from some young guys who are like, man, I'm just trying to drop a couple of pounds, and I said, listen, it's really simple. And I go, all you have to do is a keto diet. And by me, what I mean by keto is cut out seed oils, grains, and your starches. Just cut them out. Everything else you can go ahead and eat. And I guarantee you, eat until you're full every meal. Eat high fat and keep working out and you will lose weight. Right. So that's what I tell them. And then I tell them I'm full carnivore. I haven't had any carbs at all. And let me tell you, you can definitely work out and you can make progress. So I have made those comments to several people. But I did, interestingly enough, I had a guy come up to me yesterday in the gym that I'd never noticed before. Young guy, my guess, 28, something like that. And he came up to me. I had my headphones on. I took it off. He goes, "I just wanted to tell you that I see you here all the time, and you're my inspiration." I was like floored. I didn't know what to say. All I could say was thank you. But that I. It's hard to forget that because clearly, they're noticing. Hey, here's an older guy. He's working out really hard, and you can see the results. And I don't. I would like to be better, but I'm definitely having an impact on some guys. So I'm really grateful for that.
That's great. Um, and in the area of the US that you live in, how are things generally health wise and diabetes wise and things like that? Is it kind of the national average, or are you doing a bit better than that? Or
I I would say the part of the United States I live in, and by the way, I'm in Texas. I'm in Houston. Is probably more overweight than a lot of parts of the U.S. And the U.S. is pretty bad, but you see it everywhere. It's very common everywhere you go, and I'm noticing it now more, not from an eye of criticizing, but more of me saying I was there and now I'm not, and then and from a health perspective, I see people and I see that they're really unhealthy, and I see people my age who are look 20 years older than me, and then I kind of feel bad. But also, I've been told that I talk a lot about my diet, so I try not to bring it up all the time anymore. I try to, hey, how are you still doing that carnivore thing? Yes, yes, still doing it. A year and 8 months and counting. Still haven't died of scurvy. Told them, so still good. But I try not to talk about it too much because my wife tells me after, you bring it up all the time, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop bringing it up. But yeah, I've noticed that a lot of people aren't healthy, and it's almost like, yeah, I wish I could tell them, listen, there is a secret, and the secret is eat this way and eat until you're full, and slowly you'll lose weight. When you feel healthier, exercise. Yes, it is diet and exercise. That's true. That's no secret. But the thing is, the standard American diet for a lot of people like myself does not work. I've remember as a kid, I was always a little overweight. I mean, when I was in my later teen years, I became thinner, but I was what I would call today skinny fat. I was same waist size as I am now, but kind of flabby. And I'm not like that anymore. And yes, you could point to exercise, but honestly, I've been working out 5 years, 6 days a week, so a lot. And for 3 years of those 5 years, or a little over 3 years, I was gaining muscle, but I was not losing weight. And it wasn't until the last year and 8 months that all of the weight just flew off, right? And not really losing muscle, but now starting to really gain muscle. So if it was all exercise, like people say, oh, but it's because you work out. Well, I was working out before, but I couldn't lose weight, right? Yes, working out builds muscle. And yes, I can add more cardio, but it's impossible to outtrain a bad diet. I actually saw a guy on YouTube once who ate 10,000 calories in a day and then says, I'm going to try to burn 10,000 calories. He literally worked out the entire day and did not get 10,000 calories burnt, but he was able to eat it in less than an hour. So it's impossible to outtrain a bad diet. You have to eat. The thing is, American diets don't work, or the standard, calorie deficit diets don't work, because just like in the vampires, the thirst always wins. Eventually, the hunger wins, and you have to go back to eating. You have to go back to eating normal because your body is craving nutrition, right? And when you do that, you're going to gain weight, right? So If you don't get on a diet, but rather you change your style of eating, your way of eating, then hey, then you don't gain that weight back. And I have not gained any weight. I see the scale go up a couple of pounds and the next day is down a couple of pounds, but that's typically water weight. And again, that's why I have one of these body fat caliper, because if this thing doesn't go up and I say, okay, my body fat hasn't gone up. Yes, I'm 2 pounds heavier, or I've stayed the same for 6 months. I've been within the same 5 pounds for 6 months now. So that tells me, okay, but my pants are getting looser. I've put another hole in my belt. So things are going in the right direction, but I weigh the same. So while yes, the scale is good measure, it is not the only thing. And so yeah, I wish more people did body fat caliper testing, measurements. There's a couple of ways to do it. And then just say, okay, am I making progress? Because if you do incorporate a workout routine like I do, you will build muscle, and muscle weighs more than fat. So, and then they're two separate things, right? So you can be losing one while building the other, 100% possible.
Mm. I even feel like when you take the gym out of it, even when someone's starting carnivore, um, the first few weeks, first few months, the scale might not change very much, but there are changes happening, right? Like the mirror is a better judge of what's
Yes.
going on than the scale is often,
Hmm.
especially at the beginning.
No, absolutely. I had a good friend of mine, probably my best friend, tell me that it looks like I'm aging backwards, right? So my skin seems to get better. I forgot to turn on the AC, so I'm a little warm right now. But my skin is typically very clear, So I mean, it's certainly not going to look like a 20-year-old's, but considering my age, I think it's looking better. The bags under my eyes kind of disappear. So I think I contribute that to the way I'm eating. I really do. I think that's the best way of eating is nutritiously dense, high fat foods. Now you cannot eat high fat and carbs because you will gain weight, but high fat and proteins, low carb or no carb, perfectly healthy, right? I thought I was eating a lot of protein, and one day I decided to track. Let me track. I'm eating mostly beef. I not only eat beef, I eat chicken too, whatever is available, but a lot of beef, I would say. And when you start to track ground beef and the types of steaks that I eat and the type of chicken that I like, all of a sudden you realize, wow, 60% of my calories come from fat. So I would say 60% are fat and 40% is protein, even though all I eat is protein, right? So it's still technically a high fat diet. And now that I mentioned that, it's kind of interesting. I used to love chicken breasts. I used to love them. Now I just want chicken thighs and chicken legs because it's like my body craves the fat. Like I used to take the skin off the chicken so I wouldn't eat the fat. Now I'm if the somebody takes the skin off the chicken, I have them give it to me, put it in the air fryer, and I make snacks out of it. So it's like now I'm no longer scared of the fat. I love the fat. It seems to I've got a snack on something crunchy like chicken skin is phenomenal. There's companies out there selling stuff like that, and it's like just if your rest of your family doesn't eat it, perfect. Give it over here. My son
Yeah.
is cut off fat off of his ribeye steaks, and I don't let it throw away. I put it back in the air fryer, crisp them up, and I eat the fat. Might be a little gross, but
Nice. Nice. Um, so we really grew up in the time where fat was demonized though, right? Fat and
yes,
cholesterol, like that was that kind of growing up kind of the
yeah,
80s. That was like, you know, no egg yolks, egg white omelets, all that kind
yes,
of thing. And when I hear someone even now talk about egg white omelets, and I just think, are you joking? It's like
yeah.
the yolk of the egg is so nutritious.
Is the best part.
Mm.
Funny thing you say that because I don't know how I got on my feed on YouTube, but someone said, take a look at this picture here of people in line to see Star Wars. when it first came out in the 80s, in the early 80s. You look at the kids in line, probably they're my age, or my age now, but I was that age, maybe a little bit younger, maybe I was 10, something like that. It They literally, you would hard pressed to find anybody overweight. And then they show a picture of the latest Star Wars and people in line, and you could see a drastic difference. And yes, you're right that in the 80s is when it started low fat, low fat, low fat, but it took a while to get as bad as it is now. It's eating the low fat and high, technically low fat, uh, but that is what I think is contributing to obesity, because if you look at the nutrition label, and again, you have to become an expert at these things, there's sugar that's added, but then there's also carbohydrates. Carbohydrates almost should be called sugar, but it's not in the label. It just says carbs. Carbs doesn't sound bad. It's a good thing, right? No, basically it's sugar. So if you take the carbohydrates and say, okay, how much sugar does that make? You realize, oh my God, I'm eating a lot of sugar. Cornflakes. Oh, I would eat, all these. Let me eat healthy cereal. And then I go look at that now at the healthy cereal, and I'm just shocked at the amount of carbs that it had. And if you think that carbs are sugar, get metabolized to sugar instantly by the body, then you realize, why would I want to start my day with eating sugar? I would much rather start my day eating something that's going to keep me full for a long time. And meat does that. You can eat whatever you like. I eat seafood. I love seafood. I eat anything that is considered. When I say meat, a lot of people think I'm thinking only red meat. I eat anything that has been alive or comes from something that was alive, and I love it. I love it.
So on that, do you drink milk? Do you eat cheese, things like that?
I used to, when I was losing a lot of weight, I snacked on cheese like it was about to come to an end. But I don't do that anymore. I still occasionally grab a piece of cheese and snack on it, but I don't buy it by the block and cut it up and eat it as snacks anymore. I don't really drink milk, although I do have a little bit of milk in my coffee, just enough to change the color. But I would say it's not even a third of a glass a day if you add up all the coffees I have. So well, the only dairy that I do have, and that's kind of a recent thing, is maybe 6 months ago, 5 months ago, I kind of added that. I had some stomach issues, but not because of the diet, but rather because of a virus that I had. And so I wanted to include probiotics. So I got Greek yogurt, full fat Greek yogurt, and I made sure to read the label, make sure there was nothing added other than milk and milk cultures. So typically, I'll have after a meal, I don't know, a few ounces of that as a kind of like my dessert. It's not very sweet, and I don't do sweeteners anymore. So I don't even put like Splenda or any kind of aspartame in my coffee. It's coffee with a little bit of milk to change the color, and I foam it up, and that's my coffee. So I don't really eat dairy other than, I don't drink milk rather, but I do have dairy in the form of cheese occasionally. Um, I'll go to a fast food restaurant, and there's I'm not sure what part of the world you're from, but in the States, there's a chain called Jack in a Box, and I already know I can just order, give me 3 large hamburger patties. So they literally will put them in a nice little plate for me, and I get home, I put some cheddar cheese on it, melt it, and those 3 hamburger patties plus 3 or 4 eggs, that's a good breakfast if I don't have anything else. So I do that. So that's kind of the dairy that I have.
Yeah, I think I've been to Jack in the Box. I used to live in LA, so I think I've been to
Okay,
Jack in the Box and Carl's Jr. Those are the two maybe America specific ones I've been to. Yeah,
right. Carl's
yeah.
Jr. They're around in Texas. Not a lot of them, but yeah, but there's a lot of fast food in the states, and yeah, you have to be really careful with that. Even sometimes, you almost wonder, hey, how do they grill this? Do they use seed oils? But I try not to be religious about it, because it's not about that. It's about eating healthy, and you can't be perfect. I know I can't be perfect, but I can certainly choose not to eat a chicken fried steak, because I know it's breaded and I know it's in seed oils, right? I'll be happy to eat the meat if it wasn't fried in seed oils, or I'll eat something else. But I try to eat healthy. The one thing that I want to start doing, not that this is turning into a cooking show, but uh, I saw a recipe for carnivore pizza. Basically, the difficult thing is making the base of the pizza, and they use Greek yogurt with eggs, and what else did they add? I don't know, just salt, and I think they literally make a paste and then cook it for 15-20 minutes, and it makes like the base of the pizza, and then you could cook a pizza
Wow.
like you normally do. And I'm saying, oh, I've got to totally try that. So
Yeah.
I try not to be religious about it because there are certain things like tomato sauce that is kind of high in sugar, so I try to be very limiting on that. Like if my family, like yesterday, we went out to a pizza place for dinner. I had my steak before we went, but then I grabbed a slice of pizza, took off everything, and and uh, and left the breading, and just ate the cheese and the and the pepperoni and the other meat products. Yep, exactly. Peel it all off.
Sorry, I'm muted. Yeah, interesting. Um, so, just going back to something you mentioned before, going back to the training, you said you train 6 days a week.
Yes, yes,
For someone who is thinking, okay, well, I can do this. I've been carnivore for a little while, or I'm about to go on carnivore, and I really want to get started with this and build some muscle as well. Like,
right.
what is your plan over those 6 days?
Well, I wouldn't recommend somebody who hasn't worked out to work out 6 days a week. That's kind of evolved to 6 days. It started out as 3 days. So I like doing a push, a pull, and a leg day. So all of the push exercises, so things like bench press and the variants of it, incline, flat bench, cable flies. So all of the stuff where you're pushing away from the body. So I have a push day for that. Takes me about an hour and 15 minutes. In fact, I have my phone right here, and I literally keep I keep my routines here, right? So this is my push day one, and I check it off after I complete it. There's my pull day, and here's my leg day. I did skip an exercise that day, and then I just keep doing it like this was today. So I got it off, and tomorrow is my pull day. So pull day is all my back exercises and biceps. Push day is chest exercises and triceps. And leg day, well, clearly it's legs. Although I do throw in deadlifts in the leg day, and deadlift works your entire body. So I would recommend doing that. Push pull legs. Start with that. 3 days. Get your body used to working out. Don't try to go for max weight. Don't make the mistake that almost every new gym goer goes for, and they try to ego lift. Simply go in there and get through your exercises. There are days that I show up in the morning and find a time to go that you're not going to miss. I don't go in the afternoon simply because life gets in the way, and then I'll miss. So I chose, you know what? I'll give up a little bit of sleep. I'll get up at 5 a.m., get dressed, brush my teeth, make myself a cup of coffee, drink my cup of coffee. By 5:30, I'm on my way to the gym. By 7:30, I'm home. So I've already got my exercises done for the day. I can have a normal life with the family, and nothing gets in the way. The only thing is I give up a little bit of sleep. But I also go to bed earlier than my wife as well, because by 10:30, 10:30, I'm done. I'm ready to go to bed, and the family might want to stay up. I'll make exceptions in the evening. So find a time that's convenient that you don't miss. Do that and just be regular. There are days that I pull into the parking lot and I sit there in the car saying, I don't feel like being here. But I go in there, I've got my list. I grab my list and I just go through it. By the time I'm halfway through the list, I'm pumped and I'm working out really hard. So some days I call them maintenance days. You're just getting through it, and other days you're really going hard. The thing with exercise is it has to be consistent. It's you have to push beyond, what's the term? I would say a lot of people say that you have to have commitment. I would say commitment is not enough. Commitment is good to start. You make a commitment, a goal. I'm going to do it. That gets you started. You have to push past commitment and make it discipline. Where I wake up in the morning. I don't care what temperature it is outside. I don't care if it's raining outside. I don't care if I'm tired. It's 5 a.m. My alarm went off. I'm up. I'm getting dressed. I'm going to the gym. I feel sick. I'm going to the gym. I unless I'm like really, really sick where I'm in physical pain, I will go to the gym. Just get it done, right? And get through my exercise. And if you do that, then you have consistency. You're regular. Before you know it, you're lifting heavy and you're getting through it. So you need a good exercise routine. You should a person should work with a personal trainer so they don't learn bad habits, kind of learn through your how to get through it. I had worked out when I was younger, so I already knew the proper way. So it was just about coming up with a good routine. And my son helped me with that. He had done some research. So we tried his routine. We've tweaked the routine since. And we kind of both do the same thing. And we both go 6 days a week. He goes in the afternoons and I go in the mornings. But it really yields results. And it just depends on your goal, right? I'm 55 and my goal is not to enter a fitness competition, but certainly I want to feel fit. I want to look fit, and I don't want to feel old. I don't want to be. I see people my age and they're slow to get up. I'll be happy to jog a mile if you say, hey, jog a mile for me. It's not a problem. I can do that. And I have no physical pains whatsoever. No knee pains, no joint pains, and that is carnivore. But the health is also a lot related to the exercise. So I think an exercise routine is super important for everyone. I think everyone, especially as you get older, 100% you should be strength training because when you lift weights, you build strong bones and you build your muscles. And as you get older, you really need that because, like I tell people, look, my son's going to catch up. He's going uphill and I'm already going down. So eventually we're going to meet in the middle and then there's no way for me to catch up. But it is what it is. I just don't want to be I don't want to be that old guy that needs a walker or that needs a cane because he didn't take care of himself when he was younger. So I try to be moderated in my habits. I do drink. I have beers with my friends or a whiskey, but it's moderation. It's 1 to 2 drinks a week, 3 drinks maybe. Even with this carnivore diet, I fit it in. I fit it in, make it work. But I like the weekdays. I don't touch it, not a drop. It's just the weekends with friends a little bit. So you just kind of fit it in. You can have a full life, eat healthy and exercise if you just pick a time, be disciplined at it, right? Be more than committed, be disciplined. And if you get to that, then honestly, I can't imagine starting my days without working out. Sunday's the only day I don't work out, and I wake up in the morning and thinking, what am I going to do with myself? It's 6 a.m. I'm wide awake. I feel like going to the gym, but I'm like, no, give yourself at least a day to rest. So hopefully I can keep that up for a few, 20, 30 more years. We'll see.
Awesome. And regarding sleep, you're getting up quite early. Um, I imagine you were getting up before carnivore, you were getting up pretty much the same time to go. Have you noticed any change in how you feel when you wake up?
Yeah, I actually wake up more rested. I don't know if that's the carnivore diet. Maybe it is. Maybe it's the fact that the carnivore diet helped me lose weight and now I'm sleeping better because I don't snore. Whatever the case is, I don't need as much sleep as I used to before. There are times I wake up before my alarm and I'm just lying in bed waiting for 5 a.m. so that I can get out of bed. But I do. My wife does tell me, "Hey, sometimes you run out of gas around 10 p.m." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm up at 5 every day." So, but it's your body still demands a certain amount of sleep, but I've noticed that my quality of sleep has gotten better. I don't know if that is the diet. Well, technically it is, right? Because the diet yielded results. Those results probably are the reason that I'm sleeping better. I don't snore anymore, right? So I think that is a lot of it. And it's funny because I tell my wife that, and she says I had to put up with that snoring for 20 something years. So I think she's pretty happy I don't snore anymore.
John, do you have any Instagram or YouTube or anything like that where people can reach out to you?
I do have an Instagram. I don't really post a lot, but if they let me see what it is. I it I think it's just my name, John Agitos. John Ageitos is my last name, and
Mm.
yeah, if the people want to reach out, I'll be happy to chat with them and guide them. I've had people tell me, "Hey, you should become a personal trainer." I'm like, I'm doing this for me. I'm not really. I help people out. I'd be happy to do that, but yeah, I mean, I'd love. I've often thought maybe I should do a YouTube channel. I don't know if that's in me to do. But do admire people like yourself and others who are out there guiding people, because I think it's super important for people to realize that this is a healthy way of eating. I don't really like the name carnivore diet because it implies, okay, I'm going to do a diet for a certain period of time, then it's going to end, and I'm going to go back to normal. It's just a carnivore way of eating, or it's a meat heavy diet, a protein rich way of eating, I guess is the better way of phrasing it. But I try not to be religious about it, but I think it's important, a good way of eating, and I'd love for people to come to understand that. So again, Dave, I appreciate you and people like you who are spreading that message.
Thank you very much for your time today, John. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.